Back with us on the Sports Match Zone. US Open champion Daniil Medvedev produced an inspired comeback, rallying from 2 sets down to beat Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime to advance to the semi-finals of the Australian Open in Melbourne. Medvedev's triumph completed the semi-finals matchups in the men's and women's singles draws. Ricardo Chambers has the details.
By Stefanos Tsitsipas, the Greek made light work of young Italian prospect Yannick Sinner to win 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. Rafael, Nadal and Matteo Berrettini will meet in the other semi-final. On the women's side, the soon-to-be top-ranked American Danielle Collins advanced to the last four with a 7-5, 6-1 win over Elise Cornet of France. She will play 2020 French Open champion Iga Swiatek, who rallied from a set down to see off the dangerous Kaia Kanepi of Estonia 4-6, 7-6, 6-3.
What a way to make a way through to the semi-finals. Extraordinary defense.
World number one Ash Barty and the hard-hitting American Madison Keys will meet in the other semi-final. Both are scheduled for Thursday morning.
We're joined by Chris Taylor to discuss the latest from the Australian Open. Chris, welcome to the Sports Match Zone.
Always a pleasure.
Good. There were times in that game against Auger-Aliassime where Daniil Medvedev made very heavy weather of playing the sport that he has been playing since he was a toddler. Chris, did you see, what did you take from his contest? Did you take resilience, a man who can dig deep to find solutions, or do you see someone who's likely to get himself in a hole probably too far and could lose a title that he looks destined to win, some would say?
I think you label it right. I think resilience is something that is in the armory, is one of the assets of Daniil Medvedev. I saw that, Felix was playing supreme tennis, the best I've ever seen him play, the Canadian. I thought he was excellent from the get-go. But it is not that Medvedev was playing badly. I just think that it was that Felix was playing so well. So I think Medvedev did the right thing, and as I said, hung tough, stayed close. And there were points in, as you said, the third and the fourth set where it could have gone the way of the Canadian. But I think the experience of being a Grand Slam champion for Medvedev, being in these tight situations already, and just based on his personality, this never-say-die attitude, I think is really what carried him through in the end. That resilience, as you mentioned, that never going to give up. And as you mentioned, he thought about some of the greats, especially Djokovic, and what he would do in tough situations. I think for Felix, very unfortunate for him. As I said, it's the best game I've ever seen him play in his career. I think if he continues in this way, he'll really do damage with his power and his serving ability at the top. But this just wasn't for him. And as I said, maybe a lack of experience at the end. The crucial stat, George and Lance, 2 for 11 from breakpoint opportunities for Felix, 3 from 5 for Medvedev. So less chances, but took more. And at the end of the day, as we say in football as well, it's about taking your chances.
Yeah, and as he looks ahead to the semi-final clash with the Greek Stefanos Tsitsipas, will Daniil Medvedev look back at the semi-final and say, okay, there are things wrong with my game, and be bothered about fixing those things? Or will he look at it and say, oh, you know what? At least I am certain that on a bad day, I can dig deep to produce something that's required to win the tennis match. What will be, you think, the train of thought ahead of that Tsitsipas clash?
I think he'll be very confident. I don't think Medvedev has a confidence issue, and this is a matchup which he has had some joy in as well. I think that as I said, Tsitsipas with a one-handed backhand and so on, and his inconsistencies, especially in terms of his serve or his tempo of play, might be a bother for the Greek going into that matchup. But I think Medvedev will be consistent. I think definitely he will have to play well to win. So if he doesn't play well, I think the Greek will come out on top. Just as I said, I want to go back to the point that I think in the quarterfinal, Medvedev was playing well. I just think that Felix in the first 2 sets for sure was playing supreme tennis. And as I said, even in the latter stages with that one-handed backhand for a two-hander, it just showed really the quality of that tennis match. But I think Medvedev would go in as a slight favorite, but that would be a very interesting matchup. The key will be how well Tsitsipas can manage his one-handed backhand, if he will get depth and down the line in his one-handed backhand. If that comes off, then I think he could make that match very close. I think for Medvedev, it will be a bit of a same for same. You're going with the same kind of attitude we've seen here. Make a lot of balls, get it deep, do strange things like go deep when returning the serve and then coming in, change up of his game. But yeah, it will be a good match.
Yeah, well, Chris, I'm not sure why you're wearing a Liverpool shirt to talk tennis, but I want to ask you about Rafa Nadal in a moment. But before we go there, before the tournament started, the experts were labeling Medvedev as a tournament favorite with Novak Djokovic out. He tried to deflect that as if he didn't want that. Now, I know that he's a mentally tough chap and so on, but did you read into that some Medvedev not wanting the pressure of being the favorite?
I just think that Medvedev's personality, he likes to be the joker. He probably likes to be Mr. Evil. He likes when the crowd hates him, and that builds his resilient nature. I can understand why players won't necessarily want the title of being the favorite, so they're the person who is targeted. But I don't think it will affect him much. As I said, he's gotten over that hurdle of being a Grand Slam winner. And I think that's a big thing for him in terms of his confidence. The know-how of coming back from tight situations.
Yeah.
Rafael Nadal, as I said, coming off of injury and so on, which is probably why he would be going into this tournament as a favorite, especially because this is a tournament he's only won once, and it's been a struggle. But he's playing good tennis, and as you know, there's no one harder to beat than Rafael Nadal in terms of being a resilient player and getting through tough situations. But let's see what happens in the semi-final. I don't think Berrettini will be an easy target for Nadal. And if he's off his game, the Italian has the power and the strength to beat him.
Yeah, well, you spoke correctly just now, Chris, about Nadal's strong point being his toughness, the grit that he shows on court. Because he's been so inactive for several months now, does he have the match sharpness and energy level to produce the kind of grit that would normally take Rafa Nadal to Grand Slam success?
I don't think he's at peak fitness, but he has something that a lot of players don't have, and that's the will to win. And sometimes the will can exceed the fitness. And we have seen that in many a situation. I don't think he's at peak fitness, and hence why, if you notice his game, he's been serving a lot bigger than he would normally have, trying to get more free points off of his serve. He has also tried to cut out his sliding ability, which we have seen around the court, because he wants to preserve his body for longer. I don't think he thinks that his body is where it normally is at in terms of its fully chiseled nature, and I don't think his lungs are at the capacity that he is used to. But 20 Grand Slam titles, he knows how to get it done. He's gotten over the hurdle of the quarterfinal run, which was his Achilles for many a year. I think that he's in the right place at the right time. I don't think the pressure is on him. But yes, to answer your question, I don't think he's at the fitness level that we're used to seeing him at. But he has a lot of other attributes that could come in to offset those.
Yeah, quickly, the women's draw now, Chris, because we've said for a couple of years now that no one can predict these women's Grand Slam events because they pretty much are serving up a different champion every time. Is any winner becoming clear to you? I know that Ash Barty, world number one, has never been past the semi-finals at the Australian Open, so she hasn't flourished here. Is she the favorite?
Yes, she is the favorite, and I like how she's playing. I think the versatility and the diversity of Ashley's game, I think, might be a little bit too much for Madison Keys. Madison Keys has a lot of power and has been playing very well. It must be said, the American power that can hurt. But I think the change-up game of Ashley Barty might come into play here in terms of diluting the power of Madison Keys. Yes, there is home pressure, and we have seen that show its face for many a champion at the different tournament, at the 4 Grand Slams over the course of time. But I like the mood of Ashley Barty in this tournament. I like how she's carrying herself. She's taking things easy, lots of smiles. She doesn't look like she's under any pressure. And how she's been playing has been very relaxed. And as I said, I like the versatility of her game. Strong server. I have her to come over Madison Keys, but I think Keys will put up a good fight. I think in the other semi-final with Swiatek, I think that she's a bit of a slow starter in this tournament, and I'm wondering if that will hurt her against Collins. But I think the experience of being a Grand Slam champion herself, I think that she has a quality to overtake. So I'm seeing an eager Ashley final.
Yeah, all right. So the men's final, call that for us quickly in the time we have, 30 seconds.
I'm seeing a Nadal Medvedev.
Right. So Nadal, Medvedev, who wins it?
Medvedev.
Right. And for the women, you see Barty and
Iga.
Barty Swiatek. Yeah.
Swiatek.
And if Barty goes to the championship match, you expect her to take care of business.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she'll finally lift it in her hometown.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Chris. All the best.
Perfect.
Chris Taylor talking about the Australian Open, the men's and women's semi-final draws complete, and the tournament favourite and the winningest man still in the competition, Rafael Nadal, are on opposite sides of that semi-final draw.